What's going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money Online Training Podcast. And on Monday, we do Monday with the marks, which means you not only get one of the marks, you get both of the marks.
And you know what's better than one of the marks? Both of them together.
And you know what's even better than both of them together? A third one, because our baby's joining us on today's podcast.
You know what's even better? When you get Haley in the room too. You just got the whole fucking mark
Haley!
at a party. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, I guess you just get us three. In today's episode, I actually thought it would be really cool to just discuss attraction.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
so
So,
like
I
attraction.
didn't know what we were talking about.
I
He's
know.
like, let's go. And I'm like, okay.
I know. I wanted
to
come on and I wanted to like directly ask you, like, what is it that attracts you to me? So like, what is it that you find attractive in a partner?
Okay, so if we bring it back to when I first met you, it was 100% your confidence and certainty in yourself. Like your absolute 100% conviction in what you did, who you were, like everything you did, you were just so confident in the type of person. So I think that was like number one.
Mm-hmm.
As we obviously got into a relationship, I feel like another big thing that attracts me to you is how deeply you care about like providing for me and Haley and just supporting us, and how you've been so open to like learn about my emotions and my feelings, even though sometimes they might not make sense to you. You're still always like, okay, let me understand you. Let me try to get this. Let me listen to you. Let me see you. So I feel like it started with that like confidence in yourself, which I feel like you still have. So got that from the day that I met you to now, but also now it's evolved into, okay, like as a man, I've never had someone actually take care of me ever. It was always me. So that like quality at first scared me, but now it's like very attractive that I don't have to feel stress about how much money I make because I know that you always got us. Always.
Was there ever a period of time where you, because I feel like a lot of like couples that are listening are like, oh, that's cool. That's what you have. Was there ever a period in time in our relationship where you lost attraction to me?
Yeah.
And it's good. I want to know.
When I could tell that you were being dishonest with me and that you were hiding something. It was just like, there's no like connection here. He's hiding something. I felt insecure in the relationship at all times. So I just felt like you were withholding something from me, and it caused me to just like question myself and if I was going crazy and if I didn't know the whole story and like what had happened. So I felt throughout that time, I just felt so disconnected. Like I didn't want to have sex with you. I didn't want to, honestly, I would rather have just been upstairs, like lock myself away and be like, let's just come back out when this chapter ends. But obviously the chapter ended once you and I got on the same page and worked through it together. So that was enough.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of couples, like they get into relationships where they just lose attraction. And like there's maybe like an initial spark that like draw one to another at first. Maybe it's like the fact that this person showed me so much affection, or maybe it's the fact that this person was so confident in themselves, or maybe it's like the way that they carry themselves. But then like, I know a lot of people that are in relationships where they're just not attracted to their partner. And I feel like something that we've been able to maintain and sustain is like we're still attracted to each other. And it's like, I've also been in relationships where I lost attraction too. It was like over time, it just like slowly dwindled and we became less of like romantic partners and more like roommates. So like, what is it that keeps attraction in couples?
Yeah. And I think like,
I'll tell you what it is for me, for you, like for you, like the reason that I'm attracted to you is like, you're always working on yourself. And like, I feel like as somebody that puts a lot of pressure on myself to be the very best that I can be, like I need a partner that also does that. Like I need to be in a relationship with a partner that like is willing to work on themselves, and not a partner that's perfect, because I think that if you have a partner that's perfect, then, you know, your life's probably pretty fucking boring. So I think it's good to have some, you know, healthy tiffs once in a while, but like a partner that like is willing to work on themselves and like bring a better version of them to the relationship. Because I feel like two people meet and then they decide they're going to share life paths, and each of those people is going to come with their like predetermined set of like traumas, predetermined set of like things that happened to them in the past, whether that be like family trauma or abuse or like a relationship where they got cheated on. And so it's like both people got to come together and figure out how to coexist while also dealing with their own trauma. So I think for you, like the number one thing that has always attracted me to you is the fact that you always work on yourself physically, mentally, emotionally.
I agree. I think that's one of the biggest things for me too. I feel like you're always like open. Like whenever you feel like I need to work on something, you'll be honest with me and I accept that feedback. And I feel like vice versa, it's the same thing. I think something that we haven't touched on is just the fact that people become so obsessed with the honeymoon phase. And like you could live the honeymoon phase over and over and over again with a different person. But as you start to get to know someone on like a soul level, their ins, their outs, their weird things, their cute things, do you know what I mean? Like you move past the honeymoon phase and you need to really fall in love with who that person is. Not just the butterflies that you get, not just like the, oh my gosh, he's flying down to see me, I missed him so much, right? Like it's the actual, real, raw relationship. It's like falling in love with the process. It's not just going to be the honeymoon phase forever. And I would like argue that the honeymoon phase is so great. Like it really is. You love that part of a relationship. And I think it's so important to embrace that space and to like enjoy it. But at the same time, I feel like it's so cool to be with somebody who you can just literally 100% be yourself, walls down, work through the hard shit, be there for the good shit, and like build a life with. And that doesn't happen in the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase isn't about your growth as individuals. Obviously, you're still doing that, but it's about you guys getting to know each other and seeing if you're going to be a good fit in the first place.
Yeah, I think that something that was really cool is like, if you think about like the honeymoon phase when we first started dating, it's like we literally did everything together.
Everything.
It's like you're going to yoga class, I'm going to yoga class. You're fucking doing this, I'm doing this. You're doing this.
I'm flying down to come see you because this is going on. Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like part of, and this is just my opinion, I'm curious what you think. I think that part of what has made our relationship work is that both of us have like stepped into our own as like independent individuals.
Yeah.
And so like there's certain things that I fucking love doing that you strongly dislike doing.
Yeah.
I fuck with action movies.
I do not.
I like watching people get their heads blown off. I like watching horror movies. I also like going on a lot of business trips. Like I like just fucking, putting myself in different business environments. And over the course of our relationship, especially now that you're pregnant, you're like, that isn't something that I want to do. But I think that what's made our relationship like work is that we fully support each other in our individual endeavors. And I think that knowing that like when you're doing something, I'm like 100% fucking go for it. Like you're speaking at this women's only event. If I can come, I'm going to come. So it's like, but knowing that like I fully support you in your dreams and you fully support me in my dreams allows us to come together with this like, because now we're actually like, I'm an independent person outside of you. Whereas I think a lot of relationships that get into places where they're just like coexisting and they're like, I am nothing without you. But I think me and you are both on the same page where it's like, you're your own person and I'm my own person. And I think that's what makes it, that's what makes us dynamic and attractive.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's just even the fact that we're both working towards something like, while I don't want to travel as much throughout pregnancy, like, that I have big goals and I want to do big things. And it's not about the bigness or the boldness of your goals. It's about genuinely just understanding like who you are and where you want to go. And sometimes that path like that, it's not as clear. Like when we first got together, we were both like in our own shit that I don't think we even really we didn't know, right? But as we started to come more into ourselves, that path became very clear, our desires and wants as a couple and our desires and wants as individual human beings, and us actually working towards those things we just started to take action. And I feel like that's just an attractive quality to see someone working towards something, or to see someone like another big thing was that I felt like any man I had been with before, they promised this is how it's going to be. And I never, ever, ever saw someone actually pull through. I just remember so many promises. Oh, I'll move out here. We'll be together. It's only going to take this long. Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to make this money. This is why I'm doing that, because eventually I'm going to be able to take care of everything. And it just never happened. There was never integrity behind the words. So it was a really attractive quality to see you create this vision board and for it to not just be a vision, for it not to just be words that were coming out of your mouth, for it to actually be something that happened. Because like I never saw that. And that was another thing. It was just like, that's just not an attractive quality. Like imagine me saying all these things to you. I'm going to work on myself and be at the gym every morning. And then I just kept doing the exact same thing. You would leave me. That's just not an attractive quality. So I think integrity and backing your words with actual action, like whether you're a female or male, is just a very attractive quality.
I think that we've had this conversation a lot, and I think that people like think this is like savage, but I also think this is what makes our relationship work. Like I think both of us have things that like, yeah, if you stop working out for fucking 3 years and you just let yourself go, I would tell you first, then I'd tell you again, then I'd tell you again. And then we would part ways. We've both talked about that. Like if I just went out to the nightclub every 3 nights a week, just started partying, drinking, just back to my old ways, like you would leave me. So it's like, we have like clearly defined, like, I almost think it's like standards for like what we're willing to accept for ourselves. And also standards for the relationship and like what we want out of the relationship. I think that that plays a big role in it, because too many fucking people just get into relationships where they're just settle. Like I'm in there, and I've done that. Where I'm like in the relationship where I'm like, okay, like I got her now. And then I'm just like, eat like shit, fucking I'm lazy, sleep in, look like shit, fucking gain a bunch of weight. And then the person that I'm, that I got in a relationship with looks at this new version of me, the fucking version of me. And I'm like, they lose attraction, but it's like, that's my fault. And like, that came from like me losing, relationships or losing connections with women that I loved, but then I let myself go or they let themselves go. And then we lost the attraction. It was like, I think that the reason that both of us work is like, because like we have standards for what we're willing to accept from ourselves. We have standards for what we're willing to accept from our partners. And like, we know what we want. And I think that both of us like actively work towards that at all times. Yeah. I also think that in relationships, like when we've been to a place where like we lose attraction, because it's happened with both of us.
And I was going to say, I think it's like good to normalize like losing attraction temporarily as you go through seasons. Like, and that's the thing is if it's been 2 years and you don't feel any attraction to your partner, like that's not what we're saying here. But like, there's different seasons where I'm sure you've been less attracted to me. And there's seasons where I've been less attracted 100%. To you. And that didn't mean that we like...
That means it doesn't mean we don't love each other.
Also evolves. Yeah. Like my initial attraction to you was like, you were like douchebag, fuckboy, but really smart and entrepreneurial. Whoa. But it was so different, right? Like, and I think like, I was like, I liked that. It was like, oh, he's like a bad boy. Like that's like attractive to me. Whereas that is gone now, but it's also been 7 years. So obviously like our attraction has evolved from me being like, oh, he's really hot to, oh, he's not only really good looking because like I value so much that we both just take care of ourselves. And I do think like we've just gotten better over the years, which is amazing. But it's like, oh, like it's not just that he's hot because that's all I had at first was like, oh, he's a good looking dude. It's that he's good looking. He's a great dad. He loves Haley the way that I love Haley. He loves me for every single piece of me, not just my body. So it's like the attraction evolution. Like I'm falling in love with Brian Mark, not just the physical features of Brian Mark.
I think that like, so I'm curious, like for us, when we've like lost attraction, I think that when you lose attraction to your partner, like what happens if you lose attraction to your partner? What happens if you listen to this podcast and you realize that you've lost attraction to your partner? Like, how do you handle that? How do you cope with that?
I think sometimes it's about being honest.
I think it's always about being honest. I agree
think like that. Anytime I felt like I was losing attraction to you, eventually it came to surface.
That's the thing is I think it comes to the surface without you saying it. So like regardless of whether or not you say you're losing attraction, your partner can feel it. Because you're like you're more dismissive, you're less like interested in having sex, you're like less interested in like all of it because you're just like, I'm not attracted to you. Like you're like avoiding it. Yeah. So I think that like at some point, I agree. I think that that conversation needs to be had. And I think it needs to be had from like super calm and level-headed place. And like what I always think about is like when you sat me down and you told me that my beard is getting out, which she told me that my beard was getting fucked. And looking back on the videos, I had a forest on my face.
Dude, it was so
I couldn't see it. I'm like, you can't see the prescription from inside the bottle.
It was so bad. And I was like, man, he is such a good looking human being. And like, honestly, that was me just being like,
I had a forest on my face.
Very physical, but I was just not down with it.
I had a forest on my face. Yeah. But like, that was just a manifestation of all the other things that were going on in my life. Like
you felt heavy.
My fucking face, like I'd let myself go. I wasn't getting haircuts. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't going to the gym as much. I was like at the gym and on my phone. Like I was like eating my shit.
Even today, you spend time in the bathroom. I was going to say you didn't shower, but that's a lie. You always showered. You always showered. But now I see you like in the bathroom actually getting ready. Whereas before it was like quick shower in the fucking morning, go to the gym, and then just literally sit at my office.
For like 8 hours. Yeah,
no attention to the putting my necklace on or wearing like my you just whatever was in front of me, right? So now you actually take the space like I'm getting myself ready for today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, so if you're listening to this right now and like you're in a relationship where you've lost attraction, literally have the conversation. And like me and Kirsten have had the conversation. It's been both ways. And I think it's like, hey, can we like have a talk? And I think it starts with like, I love you so much. And like, I wanted to tell you this because I love you. And like, I'm like noticing these things and like, it's like causing me to lose attraction. And I don't want to lose attraction to you because I love you, but like, I need to communicate this to you. And like, you're better than this.
You have to, because if you don't, then it's only going to get worse and you're going to get more disconnected to a point where it's like unfixable. And literally that happened to me in a relationship where didn't say anything, got to a place where it was like, this is no longer something that we can fix. It's too far gone.
Yeah. And like that conversation fucking sucked. Like I remember that conversation and being like, damn. And like, I've had conversations with you that I know fucking sucked. Yeah. But on the other side of that conversation, it's like, we're actually like, I think that I don't say this lightly because this is like hard to say and mean, but like we have a harmonious relationship in the sense that like we're good. Yeah. Like most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not perfect. And I don't think any couple can be perfect, but like we live in harmony. Like we have like a good relationship. We've got good communication. If there's ever anything that bothers me or you, we have that conversation. We like fucking hash it out. We don't let fights go on for longer than a day. Nope. It's like we have a very harmonious relationship, and it comes on the back end of some of the stuff we're talking about today.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Like we are in a really good place.
Yeah.
And it's just like, sometimes it's like weird to just be in a good place, because I feel like it's been quite some time. Like, I don't remember the last really big argument we had at all. Like it's been forever. And I feel like one of my toxic traits is sometimes like,
when it's going good, you're like,
I'm like, I need a good
she doesn't
fight.
She doesn't do that as much.
Anytime, like I've had to write myself notes, because anytime Brian like leaves or threatens to leave,
which hasn't happened in years.
Yeah, hasn't happened in years. But those times afterwards, I was like, I love you so much. I would even write messages to myself being like, remember how you feel about him now when you start. So that's like something I've had to work through, is I almost would like seek the fight. I'm like, I don't want it to be a big enough fight for us to break up, but I want it to be big enough for you to be like, fuck you, and then for us to make up again. And that was like, but those are my relationships.
Yeah.
It was literally like from 14 to 25, it was those types of fights. And then it was like the makeup, and it was so great, and we were getting back together. So that was all I know. So it has been really weird just normalizing it, being like
good every day.
Yes.
Again, this is like one of the things we're still working on, but it's funny because we'll be like really, really good.
Yeah.
And we'll be like really good. And then I'll come out and I'm like, oh God, something happened.
Yeah.
And it's nothing.
I'm starting to realize too, some of the things I'm like, this just isn't worth it, Kirsten.
But also like, again, like full transparency, like I have shit that I'm still working on too. Like I get super stressed out about work, and then I'm just kind of a fucking dickbag all day.
Yeah.
So like, there's like, I'm definitely not the perfect candidate.
Yeah.
But it's again, like when we're in those situations, it's like learning how to have those conversations with one another. But like overall, like we're fucking good. Yeah. And that attraction's there because we're both working on it. And like we both like, and anytime, like, this is the thing, is like anytime that we're having some sort of like disagreement or argument, like both of us will like sit down and reflect and be like, what part am I playing in the situation? And like both of us are willing to apologize for the part that we played in the situation. Always. It's like, even if like I don't agree with something she's saying, or she doesn't agree with something I'm saying, she's like, I apologize for the part that I played in the situation. And it's like, it goes the same for both ways.
Yeah, the attraction evolution. It does evolve. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And time passes no matter what. And as time passes, like whether you everything, it changes. Things change around you. The way you look at people changes. The way that you view the world changes. So I think like attraction is going to evolve. But I think what's really cool is we've always kept that, like, we still think we're both super hot, which is great.
It's so fucking important.
Yeah, I agree.
So fucking important.
I can't just be like, I love Brian's heart, but oh my God, I miss the way that he looked.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like looking at other women. You know? Like, so, but it's like if you're unattracted.
That's what I worried about with pregnancy, where I was like, oh, now I'm gonna be putting on some weight.
I want to pause that thought. How often do I come up to you and I'm like, you're so pretty?
He's like, it's so hot that you're carrying my baby right now. I'm like, okay. Yeah. It was definitely a me thing. Like, it was definitely a me thing, because like I was in my fucking prime, you know? Like I was in my prime. Like I still am, but I sometimes feel a little frumpy. I do. I feel a little frumpy. I'll be at the gym and I'm like, dude, do I look fucking pregnant, or do I just look like
on that frumpy? Pregnancy prime. That's what we talk about.
Pregnancy prime. That hot pregnancy. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoy this conversation around attraction with your partner. I truly believe that, like, if you're with somebody for the rest of your life, that attraction should be there. I believe that. And I believe that if the attraction is not there, like why would you settle for that? I don't think that you deserve that. I think you deserve to feel attracted to your partner, and your partner deserves to feel attracted to you. So if there's things that you do that make your partner unattracted, address those things so that you can show up better for the relationship. And if there's things that your partner is doing, have that conversation. Where do they find you?
Brother, you can find me The Real Kirsten Mark pretty much across all platforms.
I will also say I feel like we should start our own podcast where we have all of our Monday with Marks podcasts. Because I agree. I have a lot of my clients that literally are like, I wait for like yours and Kirsten's podcast, and me and my partner listen to it.
Well, it's so important for so specifically like with business and specifically with health and wellness. Like what we're talking about is staying on the same page as your partner, supporting your partner relentlessly. So it's like those two journeys require everybody, whether they want to admit it or not, everybody loves love. Everyone wants to have a love that they wake up every day and are with somebody who sees them, hears them, and just wants to fucking give them give them their love. So with business and with like fitness, it's so important that our partners are on the same page and that we have those communication skills. And I think what's really cool is we're not coming from a place of, we went to school and this is, do this by the books. We're coming from maybe I'll bite my tongue from saying this. I feel like people might get angry at me for it. But I think the best advice I've ever given is from my own personal experience. And I think that's all we're doing. We're just teaching through our story. And like who I learned from, like I learned from people who have like, I've been there. This is how I did it. Let me show you. And I think that's literally what we're doing. So I agree. Yeah.
If you like us, great.
Yeah.
If you don't, also great.
Yeah, we don't care. It doesn't
don't
matter.
give a shit.
Yeah, don't matter, motherfuckers.
You can find me at The Real Brian Mark on Instagram, The Real Brian Mark on TikTok, or Brian Mark on YouTube. And if you're interested in Kirsten, where do they find you, babe?
Real Kirsten Mark, muchachos. Go follow me.
Peace. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at The Real Brian Mark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.